Hello and welcome to Smart Impressions. I'm Rachel, your host, and we are here unlocking business relationships one connection at a time. Today's show is all about innovating human connections, and this is all about strategy, tech, and how to drive the future of business. So if you are a business owner, then this show is for you. You're going to love my guest today. I have Guy Lewis, who is here and the author of the program From Ideation to Scaling with Endspace. Thank you, Guy, for joining me today.
Thanks, Rachel. Good to be here.
It's amazing what you're doing. I love that you have created this idea and this concept at Endspace. So could you tell our listeners a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Endspace is an educational platform for entrepreneurs. So Endspace, entrepreneurial space. And they have a number of programs. And one of the programs that I have co-developed with them is From Ideation to Scaling. And we work with sets of entrepreneurs at a time in a 4 to 5 day program to enable them to go from an idea, either it's a new product, a new region they want to enter, an organizational strategic shift that they want to make. And in 4 to 5 days of an intense program, position them to be ready to go to market, understand their business model, understand their pricing model, and develop a pitch deck, which either they can use with customers, with partners they want to attract into their ecosystem, or with potential investors.
Incredible. And I see that you're basically helping them get around 80-90% ready to just go into a market and really start to soar, which is the foundation any business owner needs, right? So this is incredible.
That's right. And you know, it can take a year to really position yourself in a new market or launch a new product. So we focus on moving forward with agility and speed and accelerate that process. So in a month to 2 months, you're ready to be in the market and learn by doing rather than sitting in your own space trying to create something entirely before you start talking to customers.
Absolutely. I mean, the real life experience is something that is the golden nugget. And I love that you and I talked about this before the show started, because human connections is really where it's at. And so I want to deep dive into that a little bit more and how you utilize that aspect of businesses to really drive the strategy behind all this business growth.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
The first question I have is really about this constant innovation. How do you really balance this future of this strategy with this need for authentic human connection, especially in this digital world we're living in right now?
Yeah, so it starts, and it's really where I start each program with, going from idea to scaling, with identifying what your noble cause is. What are you really out to create? What's your purpose? Steve Jobs talked about, entrepreneurs, innovators need to have a passion for putting a dent in the universe. So it's what dent do you want to make? And why is this important? Well, first, it's important as an entrepreneur. We know that being an entrepreneur is a rocky road. Some days are, exciting, amazing, and some days are like, my God, what happened? Somebody moved my cheese. All of a sudden, something was set up well, and the whole world has changed on you. So it's really important for your resiliency. So that being clear about your noble cause, why you're doing what you're doing, what gets you up in the morning, what gives you the energy to stay up late at night when necessary, and to stick with it through all these ups and downs. But the other reason it's important is you won't be able to help enrolling others in your noble cause. And being very clear about why you're in business, not just what you're doing and how you're doing it, is very important for investors and for your customers. And part of that is being able to make an emotional connection and be able to identify with people why you're doing what you're doing, to touch their heart so they're leaning into the conversation with you. They really want to understand more. They're attracted into your world, and they're using their analytical mind to convince their heart that it's okay to go with their feelings. And so if you can start with making that emotional connection, people are going to be rooting for you. They're going to be wanting to look for reasons to say yes, rather than analytically studying what your business is about, trying to pick it apart and find a reason to say no.
Wow, I feel like my brain just went on a journey here to try to understand, how the heart and the mind actually connect in a business realm. And like, where are you getting some of this insight, if you don't mind sharing about this connectivity? Because obviously you have some experience here.
Yeah, I've been on a 20-year personal transformation journey of my own. That began with a program, a large company I worked for chose to put all their senior leaders through. And it helped me identify that who I was going to be as a leader was a choice. And as I went through that program and understood better how the human mind works, and working with groups like the Neuro Leadership Institute out of the US, the principles of how people make decisions, how people are wired, how emotionals can play a role in decision making, and enabling people and leaders to be able to see that intentionality in a North Star is going to give them the framework they need to make the right choices along the way, and to be ready when the universe knocks and something unexpected comes along, to be committed to the North Star they're traveling towards without being committed to the path. Being committed to one way to get there, one plan, can be very daunting and very distracting and actually not helpful. The world is going to move you around. It's going to blow you off course. But if you know where you're headed to, you'll always be able to reorient yourself and get back on track and be willing to go where the situation is taking you, rather than thinking you can sort it all out at the beginning.
Yeah, there's no doubt that being an entrepreneur, I know for many of our listeners, even outside of the entrepreneurial space, even after the investment comes in, running a business and being a leader in general, and even being an employee within an organization that may need to manage other people, not having a North Star, but also understanding how people are hardwired plays a crucial, crucial part in how they're going to drive motivation and profitability at the bottom line, because it's all based on, we all want to achieve profitability, right?
Yeah, but that's the scorecard. Okay. And
Okay.
if you want to focus on profitability, you need to focus on what problem you're solving for your customers. You need to be very clear about how you're creating value, and the profitability will come. When people share with me that their North Star is to make a certain amount of money, I spend time with them to dig a little deeper and think about what sits behind that. Yes, we all want to make money, but the money will come if you get the rest right.
I love that. I love that. I mean, it's almost like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Is it the money or the North Star, so that you could focus on it? And I think you may find a lot of people confused and focused on the wrong North Star, as you mentioned. Are you finding
Yeah.
that in the world of entrepreneurship?
Yeah. And in fact, the way that can manifest itself is that people start to make decisions out of fear. If what you're focused on is money, and your bank account goes down in a given day, or you have a choice to make about delighting a customer or saving some money, if you start to act out of fear and have a fixed mindset that it's a zero-sum game, and for me to win, someone else has to lose. For me to win as a business, my customer has to lose, because I have to charge enough money for my profitability goals, even if it exceeds the amount of value that I'm generating for that particular customer. So I work with people to see the distinction between a fixed mindset, which is fear-based, and making decisions about being worried about what you could lose versus what you could gain, and a growth mindset, which is unlimited abundance and possibility. And if you can free your mind and stop being anchored by every experience you've had in the past that keeps your ideas and dreams small and keeps you focused on not losing what you already have, it'll free you up to see that actually it's not a zero-sum game. The limitation is only in the possibility you're living into, and the North Star creates that big possibility.
Great. This is great stuff. And I think this goes right into the topic of the show, which is about the trust aspect of it, right? Because so wouldn't you say once they find that North Star, there's a trust that goes with it to just follow it. It's not about how you get there, but it's basically, the journey that you must enjoy on the way, right?
Absolutely.
And so going down that road a little bit more, there's no doubt that clearly, I hate to bring it back to the business line, but you can't sustain a business without sales. And so how do you juggle that authentic kind of connection that's required for that North Star, that story to keep on driving you when it comes to sales and those business relationships within an organization?
Yeah, well, it starts by making it all about the customer, and that only comes if you really understand the needs that your customer has. And once you understand the needs of your customer, then you can figure out if your solution is the right one for them. I talk to my clients who love their technology. I say that's okay, but I don't want you to be in love with your technology. I want you to be in love with the value your technology creates for your customers. And to do that, you need to understand their needs. You need to understand how what value they're looking for, what creates value for them, and understand your value drivers of whatever solution that you have to offer them. And then that will allow you to focus on those few sets of values that most resonate with the customer. You'll be able to understand how much more value your solution is creating versus competition by understanding your key points of differentiation and being able to understand how much more value those differentiators produce for the customer compared to their next best alternative, which could be a competitive product, or it might be do nothing. When you have a really novel and innovative solution, you're competing with changing people's view about what's possible. You're in the domain of they don't know what they don't know. And if you can't zero in on how they create value and give them an opportunity to see a different way to generate more value with your solution and make that connection with them, then they're not going to be listening to you. It's like a used car salesman. When you need a used car, that's the person you love and want to talk to. If one calls you when you're not in the market for a used car, it's the last person you want to speak to.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I love this because obviously I feel like this is one of the crucial topics that should be top of mind for any business owner. And even this may go down the road to even employees of organizations that have any engagement with customers, that customer engagement, acquisition, business development, whatever it may be. If you're talking to your customers, I mean, this really has to resonate. So I hate to do this, Guy, but our time flies so quickly, and this is such great content for my users. So I want to invite them all to jump in, ask any questions while we have Guy on the line, because this is an opportunity for you to really understand where you can make changes in your organization that's going to drive future business. And so, Guy, what would you say are three main key shifts that any business must make today that really for them to stay relevant and profitable for the next 5 years? And we're talking about when it comes to building that trust or relationships or even credibility. What are the three must-haves that everyone needs to prioritize today after this show?
Yeah, so the first would be, as I mentioned a moment ago, fall in love with your customers. Really understand the problem that they have, that your solution can help them address, and understand how it creates value. And the way to do that is to be in what I call customer continuous discovery, or continuous customer discovery, excuse me. And so that means always be devoting time to be in conversations with your customers. The best way to do that, if you're launching a new product, for example, is to identify a minimal viable product. Something you can get into the market quickly, so you can be engaging customers and learning what's working, what's not working, determine whether or not you pivot your solution or you stick with what you have, and allow your customers to be part of and a dynamic part of your journey in understanding how to establish the fit between your product and the market. So that's the first. Love your customers and be in continuous customer discovery. The second is to focus on the life cycle of how your product is being used. It's the difference between being a wedding planner and a financial planner. A wedding planner, if you're, if a bride hires you as your wedding planner, bride wants to spend all their time with you for a while. And then after the event, think of the sales transaction. After the event, they don't want to talk to you anymore. And for them, all the value's in the past, and for you, all your revenue's in the past. If you focus on the life cycle, how your product is going to be used over time, it'll identify how to provide more services, more support. And it's like a financial planner. You need your financial planner at different stages of your life as you're going through different challenges. And you always want to be talking to the financial planner. And that shift in mindset means when the customer calls with a problem, instead of it being a distraction, like I can't make any money out of this, you see it as an opportunity to understand a new need and how you can diversify what you're providing that customer to get a greater share of wallet or provide adjacent solutions. And so it means being very curious about how they're going to use your solution and how it is working or not working over the life cycle. Don't be focused only on the sales event itself. And then the third is, as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, you need to not focus only on what you're doing and how you're doing it. You need to focus on who you're being as a leader, And this is, you mentioned employees. This means all of your employees need to understand the North Star the business is moving towards, so that they're enrolled in what you are creating with them, that they want to play the game with you. And that all comes down to how you're interacting with your employees, how you're interacting with your customers. It's all about the emotional connection. It's all about what's in it for them, what's in it for your employees, what's in it for your customers, but not from a perspective of how can I manipulate knowing that, but rather having actual concern and an actual desire to help people. That noble cause should be something that leads to an improved world, an improved life for your customers, an improved life for your employees. That then will lead to the profitability that you're looking for as a leader.
I love that. I'm going to repeat it for anyone that missed it because I like to write things down. Fall in love with your customers. So if you are looking for love, your customers are waiting for your love, right? Life cycle of your product, because it's all about repeat business. That's going to last a lot better than a one touch point, no doubt. And then who are you being as a leader? That North Star, get people to fall in love with your North Star. Do it for what their true passion and purpose is on this planet, which I think is to serve. I'm tired of this word sales. It's all about serving and service, and we're all here to do it. It feels so rewarding and it feels so good. Guy, thanks for shedding the light in this space, because this is exactly what people need to hear on a daily basis, to remind them about why they do what they're doing so that they can find their purpose on the planet. And I really appreciate it, and I have so much gratitude for this conversation and reminder. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. It was a real joy to be with you today.
Amazing. Well, until next time, another Smart Impressions with Rachel, where we can talk to someone who else that can shed the light on areas of your business that you may need a little extra push. I'm here to unlock your business relationships one connection at a time, and I will see you next time. Have a great business successful day. Bye-bye.